Alright, so here we are, and here we go, to quote one of my favorite books from Charles Dickens. I don't remember which one, and I don't remember who said it, but I remember the quote. Here we are, and here we go. This is episode 4, part 2. So we're thinking about St. Joseph and the principles that he teaches us. And now we've learned the principles. They're in our mind. We're starting to fall in love with those principles, and they're starting to change the things that we choose, and we want to start to choose things based off of those graces of truth that we've been given. And so now we need to come up with concrete ways to put these things into practice. So what are the practicals? Usually there's a daily, a weekly, and a monthly way to do these practices. There's no weekly one this time. So we're going to do daily, and then there's one kind of monthly practice that I would recommend. The first for the daily one is just like I've asked you to consecrate yourself to Jesus by devotion to the Sacred Heart and enthroning the Sacred Heart picture in your house or in your room. I've asked you to consecrate yourself to the Blessed Virgin Mary, especially by doing a 33-day preparation type format. Now I know that these videos are all sort of condensed, and you don't have time to do that much. So St. Louis de Montfort, he does say, like, you can do your consecrations even just by saying one simple prayer and just saying, Jesus, I belong to you. Blessed Virgin Mary, I want you to be my mother. I want to give everything that I have to you. And now we need to do that for St. Joseph as well, because we can't just have Mary and Joseph. We're missing somebody. Or Mary and Jesus, we're missing somebody. We're missing St. Joseph. So the first practice that I would want you to do, and it's so important, it's helped me a lot. It's helped a lot of people so much, really changed their spiritual life, was to consecrate yourself to St. Joseph. And then by doing that, what you're doing is you're consecrating yourself to the Holy Family, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. You've consecrated yourself to Jesus, Mary, and now Joseph. So it's the consecration to the Holy Family. It's really, we really look at, I look at it as just one consecration to the Holy Family. How do you do it? Again, you could do it any way you want. You could make up the prayer right now and just say, Joseph, I consecrate myself to you. You're the head of the Holy Family. I consecrate myself to the Holy Family. Boom. Done. There are better ways to do it, probably, but whatever way is going to let you really mean it sincerely, that's the best way. So a really good way that came out right now, when you get a chance, you should order the book by Father Donald Calloway. It's called Consecration to St. Joseph by Father Donald Calloway. So good, so rich. That's going to be also a 33-day period of preparation. So when you get a chance, maybe later in the year or next year, but as soon as you can, get that book, make that consecration to St. Joseph, and complete your consecration to the Holy Family. What I would then recommend is, when you get a chance, when we're not, locked down in COVID-19 mode, it could be a good idea to have a priest come, bless your home, and then sort of solemnize the event, sort of like make it official and put a real stamp of witness on it. And maybe he could consecrate your home to the Holy Family, maybe bless those pictures you want to put up of the Holy Family. To get Jesus, Mary, and Joseph in one picture together, you could use I mentioned before, a creche scene, a nativity scene, and then bless that and leave it up all year. And then you have Christmas all year, which is awesome. I would recommend putting Christmas lights up too all year. That's probably one of my favorite things. With that, I would recommend you every day, after you make your consecration to Joseph, and even in preparation for it, pray the Litany of St. Joseph every day. You'll thank me, you'll love it. Pray the Litany of St. Joseph every day, especially for you men out there, but for women as well. St. Joseph will deal with us in different ways, but for each Christian soul, male or female, it's so important. Pray the Litany of St. Joseph every day. You won't regret it. Okay, another practical thing that we can do based off of the principles that we've learned is, because authority that St. Joseph had for the Holy Family is kind of reflected in and passed on to the priesthood, holy orders. We should have a great piety, meaning a great kind of respect and love for holy orders. On a practical level, what does that mean for you? If you're a young man in high school, or any young man, I would say every Christian should think about, is God calling me to holy orders? Is God calling me to be a priest? Is God calling me to be a consecrated religious brother or consecrated religious sister? He's not going to call most people. He wants most people to get married. But he does want some people, and probably more than are answering, he wants them to become priests or consecrated brothers. And I'm just saying you should, if you never have before, you should make a prayer basically saying, Lord, whatever you want me to do, I will do it because I know you have my best interest in mind, and I believe that you will do good for me. So, and here's a quote I'll leave you with, respect for holy orders. It's from St. John Vianney. St. John Vianney said, if you see an angel walking down the street and a priest walking down the street with the angel, first bow to the priest, then bow to the angel. Now, I'm not telling you to bow to Father Pomacel or shake my hand first, but for he's talking about the power of the priesthood, maybe not the priest himself. It's not about the priest himself, like the man Jeff Pomacel, but Father Jeff Pomacel has a power that God has given to human beings, which is really incredible, which is unbelievable. And it's really a special gift, and we have to honor that gift of the priesthood and holy orders, and in its own unique way, the diaconate, deacons. And for parents, I would encourage you to, be open to letting your kids make that decision. Every parent should not be selfish, but should be open and happy if their child decides to become a consecrated religious or a priest. Related to that, we should have a piety for holy matrimony. Because the Holy Family it was basically heaven on earth, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, it shows how special marriages are. Holy matrimony is something to be taken extremely seriously. I would say it should be your top priority. If you can ever make a choice between helping holy matrimony or doing something else good, pick holy matrimony. If you can make some prayer that's going to help marriages or help something else, and you have to choose, pick the one that helps marriages. Remember, as the family goes, so goes the nation, so goes the world. The way that families operate really does affect the entire world. So we should realize that families are built off of holy matrimony, off of marriage. Marriage comes first, right? So that bond between mother and father, or husband and wife, is so crucial. So we should take it seriously. We should try to get ready for it. So that's like one good reason why we should try to not fool around when we're dating and stuff like that, or make sure that we're dating people for the right reasons. Why we should study about holy matrimony. We should pray for our spouse. Ask St. Joseph to give you a good spouse. If you do that, you will not go wrong. So holy matrimony, we need to have the utmost importance for it. In a very special way, we think of the role of fatherhood within that, because again, as we mentioned before with our triangle diagrams, even though a family is a family and everybody's equal in the family in their dignity, even in the Trinity itself, the father is called the monarch or the head in a certain way. So it is with the father as well. So it's not to put him above people. It actually, as we said before, it puts him below in the form of service. And so God wants it to be that way. So let us always keep that in mind as well. The way that we treat our father, it should, and of course, I mean our mother here too, but in a unique way, our father, to listen to his decisions, to encourage him, never to tear him down, never to unnecessarily like poke fun at or make fun of. We have good laughs with my dad all the time. Believe me, he is inadvertently funny, and I believe a lot of our dads there's a reason that dad jokes are a thing. I mean, there's just something about dad humor, but that's different than kind of like breaking them down and sort of like picking at them and things like that. That's different, or to like make a mockery of. That breaks the fourth commandment. We should not do that. We should build up the fourth commandment, honor both our father and our mother. Here's a practical thing that we learned. It kind of stems from St. Joseph's silence and the way that he lived with Mary and Jesus. Simple living. You know, in America we don't appreciate this as much, but God promised in the gospel to give us everything we need, not everything we want. So we should learn how to be happy with enough. We should learn how to appreciate the things that we have. G.K. Chesterton, my favorite author, said, "There's no point in having more things if you don't appreciate the stuff that you have." So let us. There's no harm in getting more stuff, but let us be very careful that we're not just being too greedy and just getting more and more and more stuff. Simple living also, it supports us doing stuff with our own hands, especially for men, but for women this is true too. At home, we should always try to, use our own hands. Can you make something? Can you grow something? Can you do something on your own? Learn, and if you can't, try to learn how to do it. It gives you a great sense of responsibility. It gives you a great sense of dignity. It just makes you more self-sustaining, and it helps society as a whole when we try to live that simple path. And there's a lot we could say about that, but I would just say try to support that as much as you can and try to live that out as best as you can. And know that St. Joseph did, even though the Holy Family was poor in a way, they did not have a ton of money, but they had, the things that they had, I'm sure, were very nice, and meaning that he made them as beautifully as he could. The Blessed Mother would have made things beautifully, kept them beautifully. They would have had a nice home, and they would have been very conscious of just trying to take care of the things that they had and appreciated them. And I think that's a great art that we should learn and practice. And then, again, lastly, we've spoken about this, is we should always respect authority and those in authority. We should always pray for those in authority, and we should always respect them. But here's the other side. Authority has to respect you as well. So there's a principle in the church called subsidiarity. So this principle can affect everything. It affects the way schools work, the way towns work, and even the way countries work. Subsidiarity means basically at the lowest level, the people who are closest to the situation should take care of that situation, and people who have more authority and who are above them but are a little bit farther away from the situation, they should not step in and mingle with that problem unless they absolutely have to, and these people need and want that help. So let's look at it at school. Like if a teacher and a student have a problem, the teacher and the student should take care of that problem. If I'm telling you to be quiet and you're not, then and you're threatening me with like a knife or something, you're going to throw me out the window or tie me to my chair, then I'll take it to the next level. So subsidiarity says I take care of it because I'm the closest to the situation, the most approximate authority. Then I'm going to need to maybe go to the dean, and then maybe to the principal, and so on and so forth, up to the President of the United States and all that sort of thing. And I might have to go to the EU or whatever, blah, blah, blah. The point is, governments should always respect families, that moms and dads are the basis of authority, and that higher authority should not steal their rights or trample down their rights. So when you guys become moms and dads, you should always keep this in mind politically, that we should always take honor and dignity in what we do, try to take responsibility, never look for other people above us to control our lives, even in a good way, like, oh, they're just giving us stuff all the time, things like that. That leads to just a lack of respect for yourself. It leads to getting lazy and it can even lead to like forms of slavery and tyranny and stuff like that. You never want to be just so dependent on the people above you. You want to be able to do it on your own, unless absolutely it's impossible. Okay, so that's all daily stuff, all right? And then, last of all, monthly, I would encourage you just very simply, on the first Wednesday of the month, you should pray the joyful mysteries of the Rosary in honor of St. Joseph and his life with Jesus and Mary. And maybe add in an extra little mortification, maybe do one little extra penance or something like that, you know. Maybe don't put salt on your food, or, you know, maybe, put $1 in the poor box or something like that. Just one little extra thing once a month on the first Wednesday, and then say the joyful mysteries. And if you do that once a month, if you say the litany every day, if you kind of live this piety for holy orders and for holy matrimony, if you live this kind of respect for parents, and especially for the father as the head of the family, and live this spirit of simple living and of the proper use of authority, you'll see a really beautiful life unfold for you. It'll trickle into your society and your neighbors, and it'll really help create a very nice Christian atmosphere. And so those are the practices of St. Joseph. I think they're, in a way, the most important ones. And I hope that you all can consecrate yourselves to Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, and spread that message to others and lead other people to these videos or to wherever else you can spread this message. I'm not the only person saying these things, not by a long stretch, but they're all in this one neat little package that I'm putting together for you. And now after this, we'll have 8 more messages, and so there's one that would be for every month of the year, and you repeat it each year, and you learn a little bit more and go a little bit more in depth is the idea. But again, this is kind of a crash course because we're just doing this as like something special for the epidemic that we're in, so you can learn it at home quickly, and then maybe when things free up, we can do it a little bit more systematically. Okay? Well, God bless you. We ask Jesus, Mary, and Joseph to protect you, and look forward to the next video with you. God bless. Bye.